Jen, thank you. She was named one of the most influential people on 2019 on the Time 100.
We have the honor to welcome CBS This
Gayle
Morning.
King.
Gayle King.
What's up, girl?
Well, listen, I'm thinking I'm so influential, my chair doesn't have a back. And yours does. So if I lean back, I'm in deep doo-doo.
I'll grab you.
Can I ask why my chair doesn't have a back and it's lower than yours?
That's a very good
Well, let me
question.
just lower my
okay,
chair.
people.
That's
Okay,
a
here we
very
go.
good question. We'll have to
I
check
could have
on
brought
that.
my own chair.
Well, you brought your team, but we're
But I'm
so
so
excited
glad
that
to
you were
be
here.
All
Yes.
kidding aside, I'm really, really glad to be here.
I was just telling her, reunited,
And it feels so good.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't take much to get me to sing.
I know. And you know what? I've been
I
calling
love
you
it.
GK, and I'm looking at the back of your cell phone,
yeah.
and
I
it
know.
says GK
You know, this
as
comes
well.
from, listen, my favorite color is yellow. But ever since I was a little kid, when I was 12, I just like stuff with my name and my initials. You would think I would have outgrown it by now, but I really haven't.
But you still
I
like
just
it.
like it. I just still like it.
I will tell you this. Of course, you've been a star for quite some time. We've admired you. A lot
I
of
don't
people
know
have
if that's
admired
true,
you.
but
That
okay.
is completely
That's
true.
not how I feel,
But
but go
a lot of
ahead.
people. No, you're very humble. We talk about that. But a lot of people really don't know that you have paid your dues to be where you are. And we have a clip of you back in the day.
Oh, yeah, we
Blackmail
do.
Way
material.
back in the day. Yeah, we
Blackmail
got receipts.
material
We got
coming.
the receipts rolling for us.
Then up and up and up the steps. 85, 86, 87, 88. From the convention floor to this point, there are 88 steps, and we're still not there yet. Can you imagine how Governor O'Neill felt yesterday when he reached this point and realized he had 2 more flights to go? And we are not.
Two
my
things. It
God.
sounds like you were out of breath. But what in the world did you have
I
on?
was, but that was so many layers of wrong. And I really appreciate you pointing it out. That was back in the day. Clearly, I had no hair and makeup team. Let's start with that. Number 2, I thought scarves were very pretty. So it was sort of my signature. Whatever I was wearing, I had a scarf that would match. And as you see, the bigger the better. And I've always loved color. The more
Was that a big
colorful, the better.
kente cloth or something?
It
like
was not a
that?
kunte kente cloth. No, thank you. But nothing wrong with that. But I've always liked a whole lot of color. I still do. I still do.
And you also showed your personality early on, too. You could see that.
But you know, Suzanne, I wasn't even trying to show personality. That was covering a convention. And I was just pointing out how many steps it took. And listening to my voice, it sounds so high-pitched, number one.
Right.
It sounds so high-pitched, and I'm clearly out of step. And look at there's so many
sneakers.
layers of wrong.
I love the sneakers.
I call that enterprise reporting.
That's right.
Enterprise reported, and
Yes.
it's still alive today and still well. We
But
also got
isn't
to
it
talk to
good
you.
we can all evolve, though, guys?
It is very good.
I want to see some of your old
And
footage.
yeah, they're back.
Mr.
No,
Man.
we're gonna hold it up. I had a little mustache, but we'll keep
Okay.
it back in the day. But we also want to talk about. Clearly, it's no secret that your best friend is Oprah Winfrey. But
Yes.
you guys have this thing now where you're giving some OG-like advice.
Yes, we
And
call
also
it the OG Chronicles.
The OG Chronicles.
Yes.
How does it feel to sort of be schooling us now?
Am I schooling you? I don't.
Yes, you are.
Well, it's
no,
also
I don't
cute
think
to
that-
show the things you don't know about.
Exactly,
right?
Suzanne.
That the kids
exactly.
are doing.
But
Exactly.
you're still schooling because you were giving advice to young ladies. I think there was a guy, if he didn't have a job, you guys were like Ron or something like that.
Yeah, we call it. Well, you know, this just started as a fun thing at the Oprah magazine as a digital piece. And I sound like one of these people. I had no idea that people would find so amusing. But honestly, that's the truth. The digital director is a young woman. You know, she's clearly a millennial who said, you know, it would be fun. And Oprah and I just went, sure, okay. I mean, we just sort of rolled with it. And we had no idea that it would turn into something that people would actually pay attention to or get a kick out of. It was really just our own little playground in magazine land.
So
but I have to say, it's fun. It is fun to do.
A ton of fun. I want to put you on the spot. Thirsty. What does thirsty mean? What does it mean when somebody's thirsty?
You are dealing with a professional. You're no amateur sitting at this table.
Right?
That thirsty means somebody who seeks attention, who likes the spotlight. And normally when they're thirsty, you really want them to go sit down and take several seats.
Several seats.
Yes,
My
not just
favorite
one.
was also thick, too, because a lot of times people get that confused with being fat and fine.
Yeah, thick is a compliment. Certainly in the black culture where, you know, having a larger bottom is considered an asset.
Coca-Cola bottle.
Yeah, Coca-Cola bottle. The more voluptuous and more curvy you are, the better. So if someone's thick, you know, people say, I like my women a little thick. Not skinny minis. Just, you know, curvy and healthy and good.
Nothing against
Thick
skinny
is a
minis.
compliment.
Thick
Well,
is
you
a compliment.
mentioned
I never
taking-
want to be too thick, but yeah,
No,
thick
nobody
is good.
does.
Yeah,
But
nobody
you mentioned
does.
taking several seats, and
Yes.
speaking of seats, you held your cool when you interviewed R. Kelly,
Oh,
a moment that went viral worldwide.
Yeah. Who would have thought that, Suzanne?
Right?
I mean, listen, I knew that we were going to ask the questions. I didn't think that he would and he knew we were going to talk about it, so it was no surprise to him. It was the first time he was talking after that documentary, Surviving R. Kelly. He hadn't talked about it before. And he had a lot of things on his chest that he wanted to say. So he went from 0 to 110 very, very quickly. And when he left the room, we all just kind of sat there and went, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Right.
But in that moment, I wasn't scared. I was just thinking, I'm not done with the interview, and I knew if he was upset, he would storm off because I've seen him get angry and leave. And I was just thinking, what could I do for him not to leave? So I thought, look at him, look at the chair, look at him, look at the chair. So he knew that I was saying to him, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to sit here, we're not done. But he was hitting the thing so hard, I thought he would accidentally hit me. Spittle was flying, and one of it hit me on the lip.
On the lip, and I bet you
and
like,
I was just sitting like this, oh God, it's on my lip. I can't move, I can't move, I can't move. But in the end, he really, you know, at the end of that interview, he actually felt okay about it because he said, he thanked me actually, because he said, you know, people got to see how passionate he was and the pain that he was in. Yeah. I think he was in the minority of one of thinking that that helped him, but in the end, I think that he was okay with it because people got to see how he really felt.
And I think it also paid that you showed him respect too.
Oh, I did show, but I show everybody respect. I show everybody respect. You don't come to CBS This Morning or anything I think that involves any of us on the team for a gotcha or to make you look bad. I believe any question can be asked as long as it's done in the right tone, the right circumstance, and at the right time. And I just don't think gotchas ever really work, to be honest with you. Right. Everybody has a story to tell, and I think everybody does deserve respect. So it was not my intention to be disrespectful or get him to get amped up that way. I never, ever thought that he would do that.
And here's a final question for you quickly. Do you think this was a turning point for your
quick.
career? I know, right? Never quick. A turning point for your career, or what is it about you that keeps sort of reinventing yourself? It's like we can never get used to a Gayle. You're the same and consistent, but there's always something
I do think
different.
I'm the same and consistent, but you know, it would be naive to say, no, that wasn't a turning point for me. I mean, you know, it was like a confluence of things that happened at the same time. R. Kelly happened, the governor of Virginia happened. There were, you know, things just fell into place at very different times. And I could have never, ever predicted something like that would happen to me. I certainly didn't plan that. But it also shows you can't do that, though, without being prepared for that moment.
Yeah, the
you
foundation.
Know, yes, I really do think I had the foundation. People said I would have walked out, I would have been so scared, I would have lost my train of thought. None of that occurred to me. I just thought you have to stay focused in this moment, you have to hear what's happening at this moment, and you have to carry on. But I don't think that it was, you know, if that had happened to me early in my career, it would not have gone as well. So it just shows you that it's like, I'm not comparing myself to Sully Sullenberger, certainly, but the point I'm making is he said, everything that I've done in my life prepared me for that moment to be able to land that plane and have everybody survive on that miracle of the Hudson. And I feel everything I've done along the way in my career sort of prepared me in a way that I didn't even know I was prepared for.
Wow.
I didn't know I was prepared for that. Yeah. But it just shows you never know.
Did you get in the
So
car
kids
and say,
of
what in
today,
the world
stay
just happened?
prepared.
Yeah, stay prepared.
The
Did you
alert
get
and
in the car
available.
and say, what in the world just happened?
No, we said that after he left the room. After he left the room, we all, the crew, all of us, we just sat there and went, what the hell? Because, and also in that moment, guys, it didn't seem as frightening as it does when I look at it after. Laz, who you know, DeMarco knows, is my makeup artist because I don't wake up looking this cute.
Hey, he's amazing.
It takes some spackle, but he's also a very accomplished photographer. And so I didn't even know he was in the room. He saw that moment developing. He picked up his camera and just started shooting.
Yeah,
because
picture
that's
went
what he
viral.
does.
Yeah.
And I think that picture, even when I saw the picture, I went, whoa. I didn't realize I was sitting there so Sphinx-like. I did not realize that. And I think that picture, you saw that picture, and you saw his anger, and you saw my calmness, and it all played into something that has now become very iconic. But in that moment, I didn't think this is an iconic moment. But you know Susan Zirinsky, who is our fearless leader.
Yes.
She's our Madam President, I call her. They had been watching in live time back at the studio. Diana Miller, who's here today, by the way.
Yes, she is.
She's our executive producer, Diana Miller's here. They had been watching it back and they said, oh my God, that's so amazing. And we're going to put it on evening news. I go, don't put it on evening news. You should save that for us. Don't put it on evening. They go, oh no, Gayle, we are putting that on evening news tonight. And Susan said, and I also think we should do a primetime special. I go, that's not a primetime special, Susan. I mean, so the point I'm making is in that moment, I didn't see it. It was only after people back in the studio saw it very clearly. But in that moment, you have a job to do and you're just doing your job.
You got to do it. All right, we have a surprise. Adriana and
do.
Tony and Anthony are standing by in New York. Hey, guys, what's up, team?
Good morning.
Hey.
Oh, that is a
Hey, good morning, guys. I
surprise.
usually love the music that you bump in
I
with,
know.
but this
I
is even
know.
better. We got Gayle
have
King
Gayle.
there.
Hello,
Gayle. Yeah, I hear Diana
Hey,
Miller is there. Diana, just so you know, you're
Adriana.
probably
Diana's in
sleeping. We
the
had an
house.
amazing show on the East Coast.
God, so what time?
Everything
so
was
it's-
perfect this morning.
God, so they have to sit there till 10 o'clock. They're
Yeah, just to wait to
I'm
see
so
you.
sorry. I'm so. You know, they're like, okay, we gotta go.
Just a good time. No trouble getting up for 7 a.m. there, I guess. Yeah,
know.
it feels a little different in the body.
Hey.
Here's what we got coming up on the show, and then we'll catch you on the backside. We continue your coverage of that massive online fraud busted in L.A. It targeted everyone from businesses to people looking for romance online, and now there's a global manhunt to round up dozens more suspects. We're going to tell you how you can avoid becoming a victim.
Plus, we'll take you to the island off the coast of Louisiana that's sinking into the Gulf. Why America's first climate refugees refuse to leave.
And we catch up with Naomi Osaka as she prepares to defend her title in the U.S. Open. We will see you guys at 7 a.m.
Yeah, Vlad has a great interview with her today.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Sounds
And
like
we're
a
starting
great
for
show.
coffee, Gayle. Is that what's going to happen? What's the plan?
Yeah.
What did you
You're
say,
going to
Tony?
be serving coffee.
Coffee.
Yes, so
Are
I'm
you going to
going.
be? You guys are having like a coffee moment of some sort.
Yes, we're
People are gonna be
having
able
a
to come and
coffee
meet
clutch.
you, meet and greet.
We're having a coffee clutch, Tony,
Oh,
that's
very
open.
nice.
That's open to the public.
Yep.
And I hear that there will be a croissant and muffin involved at some point during the day. So yeah, we're going to be doing that.
The big CBS budget. All right, I'll hop on a plane.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
It's going to be a
No
lot of
avocado
fun.
toast, Gayle?
Tony, you know we go all out. What did you say, Anthony? Anthony, what
I
did you
said
say?
no avocado toast?
Yeah, I know.
Well, we are in
avocado toast.
California. Yeah.
But hey, Tony, you know me. I may have something brown in my bag. I may bring a little something extra.
And Anthony, to your point, I will find
All right,
avocado
watch out
toast
for
before this
DeMarco.
day is over. We will
know.
find it. Thank
All
you,
right,
guys.
guys. Good to see you guys. Thank you so
that's
much.
what the affiliate looks. That's what the affiliate looks
Yes.
like. The break.
And we've
You can see it on the other side.
When I
Thank
go,
you.
we'll
You're
see
a
you in
wonderful
2 minutes.
addition
Yes,
to our
thanks for
network
joining
and the
us,
show.
Gayle.
5, 4, 3, 2. Thank you for watching CBS 2 News this morning.